Okay, so let's continue on page 130 as we were. Function of Nassau. So we've already gone through kind of a list of the functions. Okay, this will just go into a bit more detail. All right, so the function of Nassau has varied over the years. Again, function changes. We know that. All right. It was a merchant center dealing in shipping. Okay, to and from the Family Islands. Whilst handling merchandise is still an important role, all right, so obviously we still get boats in, okay, and now a lot of those boats have changed to cruise ships, so what's on the boats has changed a bit. But a lot of stuff, we store a lot more things now, okay, so it's we're less reliant on that trade, okay. We have the large warehouses, that industrial land near Independence Highway and Robinson Road. So because the way things are traded, our trade has changed as well, okay, so that's not our sole function anymore. Other functions, all right, so it's a center of government, like we said, okay, all the main government buildings are located in Nassau. Then we were an offshore banking and finance center, was initially almost wholly located downtown in what's called the central business district, so you can put CBD beside that. We'll come back to that in our next lesson. All right, I'd like to just add here, these have actually reduced in recent times. So banking and finance has actually reduced massively. International banking and offshore banking has certainly reduced in Nassau a lot, okay. Of course we still have a lot of our own banks, but the level of banking has decreased. But that was another function of Nassau, okay. So these change in functions led to what we call urban sprawl of Nassau. So I've just highlighted that keyword and said the spread of an urban area, the area increases. So think of a sprawling city, okay, it spreads out in all directions. And then our most recent, obviously, the Central Business District, CBD again, is also the tourist shopping centre and the straw market. Excuse me, straw market is a good example. So we've gone from trade to banking to tourism. There's also a role of government and all that kind of stuff. All right. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of work on Freeport and then we're finished. So, Freeport is a new town. Now, we've already looked at that definition, so we should know what that is. Its layout is spacious and sectors for port activities, industrial, business, tourism, housing, they're all clearly defined. So anybody who's been up to Grand Bahama, it's a lot more spacious and a lot better laid out than Nassau. Nassau is a big jumble of everything, whereas Freeport was a planned town, so it's got this here, that there, it's got a little area for everything. Okay, tourism is an active in Dockland and downtown areas, even though it wasn't planned for that. So it is hard to fully plan a settlement, as people will always change what they want to do where. So whilst it's got clear boundaries between the different sectors, there is a little bit of a mix. All right. What else do we want to do? Also, so you've got 8 Mile Rock, you've got West End, you've got all these other little settlements in Grand Bahama. Okay. There's probably 16,000 people living in West End now. West End is actually the capital of Grand Bahama. Interesting fact, it's not Freeport. But a lot of these people will still commute to Freeport every day because Freeport is the main employment hub. Okay, so even though you've got these other little settlements, the situation, the influence of Freeport in Grand Bahama is it's the employment hub, so people will go to work there. Okay, so Freeport shares a favourable situation that Nassau has in relation to shipping routes. Okay, so Freeport is actually very close to America, so that's allowed cruise ships to come in, okay, and also again for trading. Now, Freeport has no natural harbour like we did, so I'll show you some pictures in a bit of where they had to create their own harbour, alright? So, the earliest days of its planning, construction of an artificial harbour was judged to be essential, so they had to build a huge big harbour, or else they thought, right, we're not going to be very successful here in developing this settlement. Remember, Freeport was a planned settlement. Okay, large cruise liners dock within its shelter. Enormous super tankers, mainly of oil and gas, are moored or stopped there as well. Okay, so now with this huge big, it's got one of the finest man-made harbours in the world. It receives all sorts of stuff, and that is what the settlement is based around. Okay, so just like with Nassau, behind the port, okay, there's lots of building land, lots of area, nice flat land to build on. There's good quality fresh water for a large settlement. Okay, so these are other factors, natural and man-made. So There's flat land to build on, natural. There's fresh water to supply people with, natural. Okay, think back to the task we did in New Wider World, all right, for your homework. But then we needed to step in as well, and there's the man-made port. We had to build the big port. Okay, so it's a combination of things to make a successful settlement. Now, Freeport was developed by private enterprise on land leased from the government, all right, in the 1950s. So actually, Freeport is run by something called the Grand Bahama Port Authority, all right, which was set up in a deal with the Bahamian government to help economic growth. So actually, strictly speaking, part of Freeport. Okay, Freeport is all owned by the government and so on, but the port bit where the boats come in and out isn't actually really governed by the government. It's a free zone. It's a tax-free zone run by this port authority. All right, they've just renewed the lease. They own the land now till 2054, so they got another couple of years out of it. Okay. The original function was to develop manufacturing at the port area. So the original function was to build things, get things brought in on ships, manufacture them, make them into products, and then send them off again. That was the original plan. Manufacturing was not enough, and tourism has added to Freeport's function. So obviously now it's tourism as well. Okay, it's quite a remarkable achievement because beautiful beaches and reefs and so on, they're not really found in Freeport. There are some, Gold Rock Bay or Gold Rock Beach, for example, but not many. Okay, and so it's quite good that they managed to get some of the some tourism developed there. So then just on page 133, okay, just want to look at this little kind of zoomed in map. Okay, this purple area is where the cruise ship port is. This is all the purple area owned by the Port Authority. Then you've got Freeport all over here, Airport, Freeport City, and Lucaya, kind of the tourist hub out here. Okay, so you can see it's divided up quite evenly. But this area is pretty much a zone, a ruler unto itself, okay? And it deals with all of the trade. I'm going to show you some pictures of this area, and then I'll talk to you about your homework assignment, all right? Okay, so if we just have a little quick look, okay, just some stuff about Freeport, all right? So in terms of tourism, because it is developing, there's always talk, or there's definitely been talk of huge, big Atlantis-style resorts being built down at Lucaya Port or Port Lucaya and stuff, okay? None have materialized yet, but if they could get something like this, again, it would change its function fully to tourism and everything that goes with that, all right? So functions can change. Then looking at these photos, okay, we have, this is off to West End out here. If you follow this road, it'll bring you to Freeport and the airport, all right? This is the Port Authority, okay? It's obviously a work in progress. You can see all of this land is continuously being cleared. We've got all of the trade comes in along here, all the containers. We've got some big container ships here, all right? All the oil tanks, these circular tanks over here, and then we've got one cruise ship here, second one down here, a third one down there. So lots of activity, okay? If we look at another angle, looking towards Freeport now, there's that road into Freeport, airport over here, and you can see all the big storage, you can see the cruise ships down here, okay, and all of the activity going on, all right? So this was a huge road. You can also see where we dug the channel. See these straight lines? We had to dig into the seabed to make it deep enough for these boats to come in and out, all right? It's just some images of Freeport. Just to finish with your homework, there's the details, okay? I'm going to just show you the worksheet called Settlement Now. Do question 1 to 6 only. It is due next Monday, due next Monday. Actually, I'll change that to next Tuesday, okay, the 12th. Complete on your photo sheet. You can do it under where you've made your notes or whatever else, and submit a copy to me, okay? The worksheet is here. Okay, it's attached to your assignment. Just doing question 1 to 6. All right. Now, it says pages 121, 133. Okay. Now we've covered all of those. Not today. We did some last week in our lesson. All right. So you'll have to go all the way back for the first two. That's on page like 121, 122. Okay. List some of the original functions of the settlements in the Bahamas and give examples of each. So I want 2 functions, the original functions, and I want 2 examples of each. All right, so give me 2 settlements anywhere in the Bahamas and what their original function was. All right, again, we looked at that the last day. Why do you think many settlements and family islands are getting smaller? We also covered that in the previous lesson, and then we've done all of this stuff here. Question 5 and 6 we've done today. All right, so 1 to 4 look back at our content from the last lesson, but everything is in the pages of Bahamas today. All right, any questions, just let me know.